Morning, Laura. Evening, Grace, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt in Studio West. So happy to have me joined by Steve Hilton from Huntington Beach, California, where Steve declared for governor today. Hello, Steve. Welcome back to the program. Tell us why did you pick Huntington Beach, and why are you doing this crazy thing of running for governor in California?
Well, first of all, Hugh, it's so great to be with you on this very special day, the first day of 15 months before we can turn around 15 years of Democrat one-party rule in California. I chose Huntington Beach for a very, very specific reason. It captures the spirit that I think is going to take us to save California. Just over 4 years ago, this city, this iconic city in Orange County, was run by Democrats, 6-1 by Democrats. Then in 2022, a friend of mine, the co-chair of my campaign, Tony Strickland, put together a slate of candidates. They ran they called themselves the Fab Four, and they took control of the council. They immediately got to work implementing common sense conservative policies. They cleared homeless encampments, they prosecuted crime, they got the nonsense out of the school libraries, and then they were rewarded. Just now in November, this group, they expanded. They had a slate of 7. They called themselves the Magnificent Seven. They won a clean sweep. So you've seen this city go from 6-1 Democrat to 7-0 Republican in 4 years. And the icing on the cake, just last week, Huntington Beach was rated the best run city in California. To me, that is an absolute representation of everything we really need to be doing to make California truly golden again, which is the theme of my campaign.
Now, Steve, I don't live in Huntington Beach, but I go down there every Saturday that I'm in California because it's the happiest place on the planet on Saturday morning. Everything in the world's going on, and old, slow guys like me don't get pushed aside by the youngsters. They take care not to knock you over. I love Huntington Beach. I also love California, but I left. I left because of the taxes. I left because of the cost of everything. Yeah. I left because there was no hope for Republicans to get a foothold. Why do you think you can break the death grip of Democrats on the state?
Because it's got so bad. I've been on the road the last 2 years, Hugh, listening to people, meeting people, working on the policy ideas that are going to save California through my organization Golden Together. I've been doing that for 2 years. People have had it up to here. The struggles that they have to just put food on the table. I mean, 1/3 of Californians, according to a recent survey, can't meet their basic needs. We've got the highest housing costs in the country, the highest taxes, highest price for gas, electricity, water, everything. You run a business, that's impossible, the unbelievable bureaucracy and so on. So people have really had enough. So I think they're really crying out for a high energy, positive, practical alternative. I think we've got the best shot in at least 20 years of really changing California, turning things around and beating this one-party Democrat rule that's been such a disaster.
Now, Steve Hilton, I campaigned for Arnold back in the day when he won the recall. Turned out, I love Arnold, but he got a glass jaw. He took one punch and he went down like tomato can, Chuck Wepner against Muhammad Ali. Are you that way? Will you punch it out with him if somehow miraculously you end up in the governor's mansion in Sacramento?
Oh my goodness, we've got to get the change happening. I mean, this is what I've been doing all my life, is being I've been very consistent and very clear about what I believe and what I want to get done. And right in the early days of the pandemic, I was the first person to start calling out the lockdowns, the school closures. I was called all sorts of names, but I stuck with it. And right back in my day, working in the government in the UK, I was senior advisor to Prime Minister David Cameron, that we had the same problem, that massive bureaucracy, sprawling regulations. I tried to get that done. The political will wasn't there, but I saw what it takes. So I am absolutely determined to make the change happen. Look, the simple things we need to do to restore the California dream, a good job where you make enough to raise your family in a home of your own, in a safe neighborhood, with a good school so your kids have a better life than you. Great jobs, great homes, great kids. It's practical stuff. But to get it done, you've got to take on the bureaucracy, the administrative state in Sacramento, which is much worse, by the way, even than in Washington, because at least in Washington, you've had alternating Republican and Democrat administrations. Here in California, it's been one-way street, left, left, left for so long. It's going to be really tough, but one way or another, I am determined to get it done. We will bring the change California needs. I'm not going to let
now,
any
Steve Hilton, but before I ask the next question, I want to make sure we give your website for people to go and find you in your campaign. Where do people find Steve Hilton running for governor?
SteveHiltonforGovernor.com, Steve Hilton, FOR4Governor.com. Please get involved. We need to have the support. Look, this is going to be a grassroots movement. That's what we're trying to build. I've been on the road. I know the energy is there. We've got to get together. People got to talk to their friends and neighbors in their communities and believe that change is possible. We need money. You've got this massive Democrat machine. They got the unions' money. They've still got a bunch of the billionaires. We've got to put together a real effort now, the best shot we've had, as I say, in 20 years. So please support this campaign, SteveHiltonforGovernor.com.
Now I want to go back to education. I had dinner on Saturday night with good friends Bob and Toby. And Bob Waldorf is a great American. He went to UCLA in the 60s. It cost $600 a year. My wife went to UC Davis in the 70s. It cost $800 a year. And I think I'm rounding up in both cases. Those universities now don't cost Californians anything because their kids can't get into them. How are you going to fix public education? And that goes, by the way, for the state university system and the community college system, indeed for K through 12. It's all broken.
You're totally right. I mean, if you just look at K through 12, just start with that, right? You've got an absolutely catastrophic failure, right? So much money goes in. They get the public education system is guaranteed 38% of the budget, however the budget much it goes up. In the last 10 years, they've doubled the budget in the state of California. Even after inflation, it's gone up 50 years. They got all the money they need, but look at the results. You've got under a half of kids in public schools in California meet basic standards. 47% meet basic standards in English. It's just 33% in math. Those numbers should be 100%. We've got to we've got to reward teachers that are doing a good job, but we've got to remove the ones that aren't. So we need much more transparency. That's why I'm talking about a grade for every school, a grade for every teacher, so we can really focus on raising those standards. We've got to have that clarity about focusing on the actual academics, not this ridiculous ideological indoctrination. The governor controls the State Board of Education. They've been driving the curriculum. This latest thing they're doing is this ethnic studies curriculum that's going to be compulsory for every student in California, even as they don't know how to read properly or do math properly. The governor can change that directly. Then you look at the UC system and look at universities. I mean, just the enormous amount of administrative bloat instead of actually making it possible for students to go to those universities and climb the ladder of opportunity. It was a big theme of my speech today, the ladder of opportunity. Every rung on that ladder has been smashed by Democrats. The economic security, a home of your own, a good education, everything that we think of as the California dream, it's been smashed. We need to get back to that.
All right, Steve, let's wrap up by making sure people hear the website. And again, you're going to be up against the California teachers, maybe the tribes, certainly the prison guards. That you're going to be hit by an avalanche of money overwhelming you from the left. So people have to chip in small amounts if they're going to get you anywhere.
Exactly.
How much do you think you have to raise, and is it easy to donate at your website?
Well, I mean, the people, yes, please go to SteveHiltonforGovernor.com. But what we're hearing is that we need a minimum of $40 million, maybe $100 million. They'll have even more than that because of, and remember, the union money that they have, that's our money. It's taxpayer money because it's in public sector workers through the dues that actually the Supreme Court ruling said they weren't allowed to collect compulsorily, but they're blocking people from even stopping the dues going to them. So the whole thing is corrupt. It's the Democrat industrial complex. They got a ton of money. We need to fight back. SteveHiltonforGovernor.com.
Last question. There is no media left. I mean, there's my show. There's Larry Elder. You got KRLA in the morning, KCBQ. You're on right now across the entire state of California and the country. But the Times is a shadow of itself. How do you get people, How do you communicate with people in this era?
Well, the great thing now is that we've got all this explosion of independent media. So we've got podcasts, we've got social media. We live streamed our event today, so you've got people watching. There's a real opportunity now to get the message out beyond those gatekeepers. It's wonderful to be with you, Hugh, and you and your colleagues. I think we've built this amazing ecosystem of independent media, and that's going to be a big, big part of this movement.
SteveHiltonforGovernor.com, and you can follow Steve on X at Steve Hilton X. First time we've ever had an Oxford New College man run for governor in California. It would be wonderful if he wins. I might even move back. Not committing to anything.
That's my goal. That's why I'm doing this.
if you win, it's possible. But I ain't coming back if you don't. That's for sure. And you're up against Katie Porter and Becerra and maybe Kamala. I mean, you got like 20 Democrats to go against. We'll keep talking, Steve Hilton. God bless your efforts. Steve Hilton X on X, Steve Hilton X, or go to stevehiltonforgovernor.com. Stay with me. I'll be right back on the Hugh Hewitt Show.